到达了俄罗斯圣彼得堡 （Saint Petersburg）。很现代化感觉。俄罗斯过关了，还挺烦。我们出关了。 有点像中国，挺现代化的，小小的一个港口码头，挺现代化。我记得我们都是大奔的。Hermitage Museum。 俄罗斯女孩都很漂亮啊！
Hopefully the traffic won't cause any troubles. Regarding the people of St. Petersburg, the normal people of St. Petersburg, they're still in bed, all right, unlike us, or somewhere outside St. Petersburg, perhaps. Originally, they were, you know, the cannons of the Kirov battleship, the famous one which defended St. Petersburg during the siege of the city, World War II. This is World War II memorial. Well, I lived in Moscow for a couple of years, and I must tell you that sometimes I think that Moscow is pretty underground than what you get on the surface. Seriously. I mean, those most beautiful stations dating back to the 1930s and 50s. You will enjoy the mosaics, bronze statues, chandeliers of bronze hanging from the... Firstly, we'll be visiting the Kremlin Armory. I'm afraid, the only thing I'm afraid of, when you say the... Come back? No, the plane, okay, the plane, yes, bound for St. Petersburg, is supposed to take off at 11 p.m. Hopefully it will be 11 p.m., yes, 11 p.m. But let me tell you right away, my friends, that I promise I will get you back safely, miles away from the downtown. It's because of the distance, so... Please relax, enjoy. You have to say, in the 19th century, challenged Europe for, you know, European civilization, for music, literature, fine arts, and St. Petersburg proved to be the capital of one of the most glamorous empires in the world. But the actual downtown is straightforward, right in front of us. Attention, please. So we're going to cross the Dnieper, so keep looking to the left. For example, this building left side in front of us, the yellow one, with a statue on the roof. This is the the Academy of Fine Arts, the Russian, like the French Academy. Behind the next bridge, if you can see it very well, yeah, you can see it very well. The green and white building, the green one with white columns, that's the Winter Palace, the Hermitage Museum. I'm sure those of us who survived tonight will participate in our tours tomorrow as well. And maybe some of you have already booked the Hermitage Museum tour. So that's the Hermitage. And you see this, the elegant spire sticking out on your left-hand side. That's the Admiralty, like the British Admiralty. And as for the huge dome closer to us, yeah, it's gilt dome, and this is the largest Christian church in this part of the world, called St. Isaac's Cathedral. And it's mostly from the Netherlands, who taught us how to build the ships.
造船厂，很古老。
All your life long. If you're really happy, it will make you happier. Unfortunately, I have no option except for the driver. No, I'm not going to kiss the driver.
This the same bridge in Venice.
Yes.
Side bridge.
Yeah. So, right in front of us, you can view the Kirov or Mariinsky Theater. Yes, we've got two best companies in my country: the Bolshoi Theater in Moscow, and we will see the building today, and the Kirov or Mariinsky Theater in St. Petersburg, right side. My grandmom, who is 90-year-old, she says the people of Russia are still proud of two Soviet-era achievements. Because, you know, they look like four legs sticking out. Yes, you cannot see the trunk, the elephant, but you see four legs sticking out. The dead elephant. This river, this is the Senons. We got them from the battlefields in Bulgaria in the 1870s. And around the memorial you can view the Russian artillery, 19th century artillery. So, number 14, etc. We have 20 streets, I mean the numbered streets. But I wonder about New York City, but here in St. Petersburg the reason is, originally it was one of the largest, most influential, important regiments. The regiment was stationed in this part of the city, and those were the numbered barracks. It's non-existent any longer except for the front wall, and what's behind, it's one of the largest shopping malls in St. No tracks, but the shopping mall. And if you take a look to the right, let's take a look at this church. This is the Church of Christ, the Savior. Maybe the church, this is the New Maiden's Convent. Left side, it's under reconstruction, but fortunately they have a very famous Russian onion-shaped. Yes, you call them the onions shaped. You will see it on your left-hand side. The Gate of Triumph commemorates Russia's victory over Persia, Iran. It was a long time ago, you know. Nowadays it's somebody else's turn to solve the problem called Iran. Well, anyway, regardless of the political but imperial style, or the Soviet neoclassical style, or some experts, some architects say these are the Stalin's buildings, named after Stalin. No, of course he didn't. Yes, of course. Yeah. Again, in the Soviet times it was impossible.
How much?
For example, of course it depends on the location as well, but Stalin style, and you can view a monument to Lenin. We still have very few, a couple of Lenins left, so this is Comrade Lenin as well. And the locals presently crack, at least I'm aware of, 2 jokes. Some people call him, they don't call him Lenin anymore, they say this is just a guy trying to hail a cab. Look at his hand. But you know, I think it's a bad joke, because there is, I know the sign, it says named after Moscow, because we're facing Moscow at the moment. So it's feasible again to travel by car into the besieged city. So the name, the golden letters say Leningrad. It's the old Soviet name of the city, Leningrad. And if you keep looking at the monument, you see it's a kind of a ring, yes? The granite ring. And on the other side, just behind, again, please keep looking, you'll see that it's kind of a broken ring. You'll see the gap, yes, it is broken. So what does it mean? It means that it symbolizes both our tragedy and triumph. So it means that first the Nazis had laid siege to Leningrad, but we broke through, owing to the Red Army people. Yes, over here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, tonight it will be still light. I'm sure that on the way back from the airport, and of course, we try to make, yes, it prettier, this street prettier than any other part of the city. I consider it to be a comfortable airport, so hopefully it won't take us a long time. I mean, okay.
Давай по одному, может быть, чемодану.
很快的样子。准备登上莫斯科飞机，下来看一看，去莫斯科飞机。莫斯科机场。
метро, пожалуйста. Метро здесь, посадочка.
Москва机场.
Желающие на метро.
Only in Moscow, all over the country. Another factor which is very, very important to understand Russia into the history, understand that the socialist ideas and the ideals, the cities, Moscow in Russian, with the coat of arms of Moscow, St. George slaying the 52%. People in Russia grow basic stuff on their small plots of land, just for what? Can you imagine? And not far from this place, you know, just to the left, unfortunately we can see there is a palace, the Alexei. Recently it was built anew. Fortunately the plan, everything has survived from the 17th century. From this angle, do you see? Just over there. Unfortunately the facade on the other side. The facade on the other side. Beautiful decoration. Which winds within the city limits for about 80 kilometers, by the way. The Moskva River has become navigable only in 1937, when the Moscow Canal was indicated strongholds in Europe. But gradually it lost its military value, its military significance, and tops appeared on the towers. Right now, 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, not more, please, because time is so important.
来到了克里姆林宫外面。
See a small arch, do you see?
Yeah.
And it is here that another river flows into the Moskva River. The Kremlin was built at the confluence of the 500 with 500 apartments, but practically for high party and government officials, but practically all of them were purged during the Great Purges in 1937-1938. Rehabilitated later, it was under Khrushchev, and memorial plaques appeared on the ground floor. Right now, straight ahead, you can see nice classical buildings of the end of the 18th century. Нет, за ним едем, сейчас мы поменяем. Да, прям за ним, он поворачивается сейчас. Сейчас уже поменяли все планы, едем на это самое.
Только что метрополитен.
Да, нет, сейчас мы уже поменяли планы. Потому что время мы не успеваем. Кремль тогда. Метро будет потом. And right now this nice classical building is part of the Russian State Library, which is one of the largest in the world. It ranks second after the Library of Washington, in Washington. Now again we are riding along the embankments, and on your left hand side, just across the Moskva River, you can see the Cathedral of Christ the Savior, to be built to mark the victory over Napoleon, and next year will mark the bicentenary of the victory over Napoleon. Russia is the land of woods, and medieval structures are very rare, and stone buildings. As for stone buildings, only very wealthy people could afford to build stone buildings. Mansion with a beautiful balcony on your right hand side. Please have a look at the ring of gardens, but it's difficult to find gardens now in this street.
Таня, мы только едем в Золотое кольцо. Куда-нибудь поедем, наверное, к 4:30 подъедем, а может чуть-чуть раньше. Да. Все, давай, пока.
By the way, it is one of the best military academies now, but it was built in a hotel.
Значит, вот там рядом можно будет сесть справа обычно, когда в субботу посмотрите.
Сейчас посмотрим.
Посмотрите, да.
Okay, here we are, ladies and gentlemen.
喝个下午茶，开启一下。莫斯科的一家5星级饭店啊，一般般了。我看这个有个，还有苏西。
Arrange your stuff in your big bags, not allowed like this one, okay?
美国
Just
大使
straight
馆，
ahead. You see white and yellow with something on the top. On
那
the
个
roof.
黄黄的，
the Soviet-American diplomatic relations were established in 1933. And the first American embassy was next to the Kremlin, ladies and gentlemen. But half a year before Stalin died, he decided to close to the Kremlin, and the embassy was moved here. It's not, and now it is used for the receptions by the Russian government. It is decorated inside with semi-precious and precious stones, by the way, the interior. One of the first subway underground, one of the first subway stations, a small chapel which is dedicated to the first Russian martyrs. From here you can see the general writer Dostoevsky, the Karamazov brothers, his famous.
后面就克里姆林宫。
The capital was moved from Petrograd. Remember, St. Petersburg was called Petrograd.
世界上最大的一个加农炮，那个炮弹一个就1吨重，巨大。克里姆林宫有2个最大的，一个最大的炮，从来没有发过火；一个最大的钟，也从来没响过。谢了。
Ponte ahí, quiero, ponte ahí. Viene. Just make sure it's up a little so you get the whole, all the domes.
我们现在要进去主教堂。
Hey, you got a girlfriend, man. No, I wasn't married. I'm married.
克里姆林宫围墙，后面就是莫斯科河，克里姆林宫 Palace 宫殿。这俄国总理就职的宫殿是 Armor Chamber， 是皇家那个物品博物院。
Similar. I've seen.
Of Alexander Pushkin, our famous poet and writer. Office of the newspaper «Известия». Если можно, Саша, где-то побыстрее, если можно. Спасибо. And now we are in the main street. A lot of shops, hotels. For example, one of the hotels on your left-hand side, which dates back to the beginning of the 20th century, and the complete renovation. It's on your right-hand side. President Obama stayed at this hotel. And $15,000 American dollars for a night. And this hotel, yes, the first American who got Grand Prix at the first international Tchaikovsky competition long ago in 1958. Right now, the international Tchaikovsky competition is underway in Moscow and St. Petersburg, 1776. And the right building just over there. Once we had a huge statue of Felix Dzerzhinsky dismantled in 1991, and it started like the extraordinary commission to fight sabotage, counter-revolution and speculation. This infamous institution has changed its name for 13 times, and it has been registered in the Guinness Books of Records. Meaning, right now we are in one of the medieval streets in Moscow. The Romanov house on your left-hand side, where the first Romanov was born. Just behind these medieval churches is a huge